Welcome to the Bourbon Van. I'm Phil.
I'm Julie. Let's drink some Tennessee Rye.
Let's do this. Every once in a while you go to the liquor store and you see something marked down $10.
Yay!
And it happens to be a bottle that somebody's recommended to you previously.
Bonus.
And that's exactly where I found myself this past week at the liquor store. Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Tennessee Rye Whiskey. Now this bottle here usually sells for $49.99 locally, $39.99.
I mean, I'm happier about that.
Yeah.
$50? That'll be good.
I'm not known as a bargain shopper. Julie checks all my receipts.
No. I do.
She usually doesn't mind when I come home from the liquor store with something fantastic. In this instance, we got a fantastic deal, so we think. But it's time to taste this whiskey. Now, the only other Jack Daniel's Tennessee Rye that we've ever had is that limited edition 2020 barrel proof hitter, and we love it.
Delicious.
Yeah, for the record, one of our top 3 ryes for 2021 so far.
Spoiler.
I guess we got it in 2020. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We got it late 2020. We love that one. We have high hopes for this one. It's been recommended to us several times. We're going to check out the nose, the palate, the finish. We'll let you know what we think of it. We'll talk a little bit about value and comparable bottles after that. Let's get to the nose. Well, you wouldn't confuse it for not Jack Daniel's.
Nope. Pretty banana-y.
Yes. Yeah.
There's something sweet here, like a rich cream. A rich creamy note.
I totally agree with the creaminess. It's weird how you can smell something that seems creamy. This actually is almost like a cherry cake frosting. Like a fake, like an artificial cherry cake frosting that, again, creamy, very, very creamy on the nose. There's vanilla there.
I like it. I think the nose is good.
What we know about this,
the nose.
Right? What we know about this bottle is that it's 94 proof. Obviously sells for 50. We got it for 40, and about 4 years aged is what we understand. And 4 years, there's actually some pretty nice oak here, and there's a touch of rye grain, certainly. So with everything that's happening here, the nose, right off the bat, I'm surprised by how nice this is. I think we need to go in for a sip.
Seems promising.
Cheers.
Cheers. A little bite of ethanol there, followed by a hit of cherry.
Yep. Maybe even some bubble gum there. The sweetness is almost candy sweetness right on the front of the tongue. This is such an unusual sip. I don't have a lot to say off of sip number 1 because it's just so unusual.
It almost skips the palate and goes to the finish. Is that a weird, like...
That's a perfect description of this whiskey.
Because, I got little baby hints of things here and there. The finish, I think, is actually really nice. Like, I feel like it's kind of a medium finish there. I'm getting a nice hit of rye spice.
Yeah.
And almost a little, like, earthy notes there in the finish. But that was interesting how it just almost skipped through.
There's some grain and grassiness that sort of lingers here, some spice, the rye spice. And you're right, what you said about it sort of dissipating really quickly on the palate. It is there and then gone.
Yeah.
There's a little creaminess on the tongue, but it vanishes so quickly. And like you said, it goes straight to that finish, which does hang around. This is one of those interesting bottles where I always talk about the rye whiskeys that I like are a great interpretation of rye or a great example of rye grain. When you get a ton of that rye flavor, that's what appeals to me because I think that's where the interesting notes come from. Why else drink rye whiskey if you don't want to taste the rye, right? Well, this one gives you some of those really interesting rye notes, but they're surrounded by completely unexpected flavors.
Yeah. Inherently Jack Daniel's flavors, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a little oakiness in there. I think, like you said, the bubble gum,
A little vanilla, the bubble gum.
the creaminess of it. It tastes Jack Daniels-y.
It really does, yeah. The spirit of the distillery is very much alive in this bottle.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've had a few ounces of this whiskey. I will say that off the jump, I was not a fan of this whiskey. It didn't hit my palate at all.
Yeah.
This has actually opened up quite a bit. I think the flavor profile has changed. It certainly has satisfying flavors, and if you like Jack Daniel's, I think you'll like this. The thing for me is that palate dissipates, washes away so quickly. What you're left with is nice. And even the finish lingers a little while, but not for super long time.
I was thinking that it was a pleasant enough drink. However, I feel like the nose is the best part of this one. And then you reminded me that it's $50. I mean, we got it for $40, but even at the $40 price range,
Yeah.
there's some crazy hitters in that price point.
Yeah. Right now, with all the whiskeys on the market, you don't have to spend a lot to get a great rye right now. And honestly, I think we're both enjoying this bottle. I think we're both enjoying this as a pleasant sipper. I don't know, an is what it is bottle.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a great way to describe that, but like you just said, $50 price point, we have to talk value here. Pikesville, $50. That's 110 proof. That's 16 proof points higher than this one. Also 6 years aged, 2 years longer than this one. That's impossible to compete with. That's even if you prefer the Jack Daniel's flavor profile, usually over other distilleries, try that Pikesville. I think you honestly. Next up, at what did we get that Michter's rye for? $46 for the Michter Straight Rye. This is, no denying it, unique whiskey.
Yeah.
So
But
is
so is that.
So is the Michter's.
Oatmeal cookies, butterscotch chips.
Raisins. I mean, it's a baked cookie.
To me, it's, I hate to say far superior, but for my palate, I enjoy it so much more.
That's the key, yeah. A unique whiskey has to appeal to your palate. Dipping down to that $40 price point, even for me, if I want a great representation of rye whiskey, I'm thinking Emerald Giant from Redwood Empire. Around here, that's $40. I know it's cheaper elsewhere. And that is a solid rye whiskey with rye notes. The grain is there, and it's such a great example of rye whiskey. It could not be more different than this.
And I think that's where we're going. This one's such a unique flavor for a rye, so we're trying to pick out different ryes that maybe aren't more mainstream, like a little bit, they bounce off the walls a little bit.
Right. Well, there's some that are pretty unique that we've outlined already, and then there's Emerald Giant. That's a straight ahead rye whiskey. So you've got a couple examples there of things that are in this price range that we think are more than direct competitors here. We think that they stand up to this one quite well. So this whiskey kind of has a lot to offer. Unique flavor profile, and it's an interesting bottle. It looks great on the shelf. If you are a Jack Daniel's fan, you're probably going to like this one. If you're not, you still might like this one because it's so unique. But for us, this is a one and done based solely on the price. Whether you're spending $40 or $50 on this bottle, we think that that's a little bit pricey for what you get here. I do think that maybe this bottle would be good in cocktails.
Oh, it hurts my heart just thinking about putting a $50 bottle in a cocktail.
Yeah, that's that thriftiness coming through.
If I didn't know the price of this, I probably would be enjoying it more.
Yeah.
But definitely, in my opinion, not worth that $50 price point.
Let us know, what do you think of this whiskey? What are you buying it for? And do you think that it's worth the price for you? For us, we don't think it's a great value, obviously, but you may be getting it cheaper, or you just may like it better. Nothing wrong with that. Every palate is different. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Check us out on Instagram at The Bourbon Van. Join us on Patreon, and from wherever we are.
To wherever you are.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Rye grain bubblegum.